This is NDTV. And you're watching NDTV Prime. In association with Micromax. Nothing like anything.
On CNB today, the very hot and extremely powerful Audi RS7. We get into gearbox technology with ZF. And it's Vespa's offering for the male scooter buyer, the new S. Hi folks, welcome to CNB. I'm Siddharth Vinayak Partnkar. Thanks for joining us. With me, I'd like to introduce you to the Audi RS7. Now, this is the most powerful Audi road car ever. That didn't get your attention? The way the engine sounds, the way the car drives, certainly will. Yes, it's lethal. And as I said, it is in fact the most powerful road-going Audi ever. It's lit and almost feline in its stance, with a graceful roofline and very contrasting aggressive muscle too. And in this graphite matte finish, it somehow seems even more menacing, more deadly, more enticing, and more wicked. The Audi RS7 is a beautiful killer. It's a Femme Fatale, and yet it's precise, clean, and just so very powerful. It takes you a mere instant of getting into this car to realize just the kind of power that's packed under the hood. It is absolute exhilaration with just a touch of the accelerator. That's right, the 560 horses doing duty under that hood come from good stock. They work hard and they work without pause. And by the way, that's a whole 140 horses more than the S7. The car is effortless yet controlled, agile yet planted. And oh yes, there is a reason I love this job. In fact, today there are 560 reasons. The numbers are indeed fabulous. And given the amount of torque this engine generates, Audi's usual 7-speed S-tronic wouldn't have done the job. And so Audi shopped around and got the 8-speed Tiptronic from ZF. The car has a traditional torque converter at the front of that transmission, and so it lacks launch control. But you know what? You don't need it. It does 0 to 100 km per hour in under 3.5 seconds. Now, given the kind of torque you've got to play with over here and the overall drive dynamics, there's only one thing which I feel should have been worked on just a little bit. It's the steering. You don't get enough of an input from it. It's not direct enough. Like the rest of the car, like the kind of dynamics, especially when you put the car into dynamic mode, you get a nice sporty feel from everything else, but not as direct, not much feedback coming from the road, or not as much stiffness as you'd like on the steering wheel. So it's just that one little piece of the puzzle. But otherwise, everything else sure is dynamic. There is a bit of understeer, but the car's torque vectoring rear diff makes up for that. Handling is a pure delight, with quattro all-wheel drive also playing a role. The RS7's ride is a bit softer than what you would expect, but the suspension and overall dynamics stiffen up nicely in sport mode, which I have to say is how this car is best driven. Now, of course, the RS7 comes out of Quattro GmbH, so of course it is a direct import. And so, of course, it is muchos expensive. 1,27 lakh rupees, thank you very much. It also needs high-octane fuel, though we did use regular fuel, and it works in the event you can't get the good stuff. Mileage comes in at about 10 kilometers to the litre, which isn't bad given the kind of car we're talking about. So as we've explained, this car is not for the light-hearted, and it's also not for the light-walleted. The car looks like $1 million alright, though I'd advise anyone buying this not to go for such low-profile tyres here in India. So even though the 21 inches look great, you can get 19 or 20-inch wheels too. The oval twin tailpipes at the rear, the slightly muscular bumpers, the air intakes along the side, and the RS7 badging all around is a subtle way to add some aggression into an otherwise subdued design. Inside, the car is very well finished, and it's sporty too. The quilted stitching and the RS7 badging on the sports seats is a nice touch. There are plenty of carbon fiber finish panels too, which add to the overall appeal. The rear is comfortable too, and being a hatch or Sportback as Audi calls it, you get a massive 535 litres of boot volume. Now, one of the reasons why I waited this long to get this car onto the program is because, you know, when you have a car like this, you've got to do it right. So I wanted the right kind of road, really, to go with a car like this. And so I waited till I could get some time out, come across to Mumbai, get the car, come to Lonavala, and then drive out to Ambi Valley. That's the road I really was hoping to get this car onto, because it is one of the best driving roads in India, no doubt about it. Not just because it's got a decent surface and it's really pretty and picturesque, but also because it's nice and twisty and winding. Always great to test a car. Oh yes, how terrific has it been with this one? I can only tell you. More like I can go on and on and on. The beauty of the car is that it is designed to impress upon you the power that it carries. But at no point does it make you regret not being on a racetrack. It's got a great road character. And of course, it's so fast that you have to look at the speedo every now and then just to make sure you aren't getting carried away. If you do have the cash, it's definitely the car to buy for its sheer fun factor, if nothing else. And if you do buy it, please remember to let me know. I promise to be a very good friend. To the car, at least. Now, it's unusual in the automotive world today to find such an effective and successful combination of all that's luxurious and premium and extreme performance as well, and with a 4-door car to boot, or 5-door in this case. Now, it is this roofline, this coupe-like roofline that we keep going on about, that's the effective signature when it comes to Audi's Sportbacks. It started with the A5. It's something that's been sort of perfected and honed a little bit better when the A7 came out with this shape. It looks really nice, looks so different and distinctive on the road as well. And it doesn't really compromise too much on the headroom on the inside. Now, the other thing I liked about this car, as you've seen just now, is the 8-speed ZF gearbox. Now, a lot of really high-end cars have been using this 8-speed in different formats and different variations, and ZF has been very successful with it. Now, we've talked about it so much for so long that it may be interesting to go behind that technology just a little bit, and so which is why we're going to duck in to what's been happening with ZF and what we can expect going into the future.
Zahnradfabrik Friedrichshafen. It takes some time to pronounce that correctly, or at least get close. It translates to Gearbox Factory, and ZF, the German engineering firm we are talking about, is famous for exactly that. Making gearboxes. The company started its operations in 1915 in the aerospace industry and in 1919 entered the passenger car and CV segment to make transmissions. Today, ZF's brilliant 8-speed automatic transmission does duty in a range of cars, from Jaguars to BMWs. We got the chance to check out one of the latest gearboxes from ZF, the 9-speed on the Range Rover Evoque. And also the Tata Nano, which has been fitted with a column-mounted electric power steering system recently in the twist.
So this little car that I'm driving is the Tata Nano, and this one has the electronic power steering. It is developed by ZF, and what they've done is fitted a small motor onto the steering column itself. As far as the feedback of the steering system is concerned, it's fairly precise, but at the same time, I don't think it doesn't give you that real feel. It is very light, no question about it, and it's absolutely phenomenal at city speeds, going around tight bends and all, but it doesn't really weigh up if you gain speed. Not that you really can gain a lot of speed in the Tata Nano, but nevertheless, it should ideally weigh up a little bit, which it doesn't.
ZF's powertrain business contributes 58% of total business, while chassis technology constitutes the remaining 42%. Though Europe is the biggest market for ZF, it expects over 50% of its business will be outside of Europe by 2025. In India, ZF's plant is in Pune. Now on to the Evoque.
What I'm driving now is a Range Rover Evoque, and it is a little bit different. This one has the 9-speed ZF gearbox instead of the regular 8-speed that we're used to. Now, outright, you cannot really tell the difference between the driving character of the 9-speed and the 8-speed, but let me tell you that it feels a little bit more refined, it feels a little bit more flexible. It is also going to be a little bit more fuel efficient.
ZF's 9-speed automatic gearbox is the world's first passenger car transmission with 9 ratios. ZF claims that it will help in fuel savings between 10 to 16%. This transmission is designed for passenger cars with a front transverse-mounted engine and for front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive applications. Moving to the domain that ZF calls the off-highway business. It manufactures and provides a host of engineering solutions for working machines like backhoe loaders, graders, wheel loaders, etc. Its power shift transmission is specially designed for backhoe loaders. Other interesting products like graders also use ZF gearboxes.
Frameless doors, well, the RS7 I tell you has some nice design elements, but when you spend upwards of 1 crore 26 or so lakh rupees, well then you expect all the bells and whistles, right? Welcome back to the show. Now inside this car you certainly get all of that. You have this nice pop-out screen that pops out, and it's got navigation on it. It's also where you can access the Bang & Olufsen music system, lots of other gadgets as well that you get with the car. And if that wasn't enough, you've got sports seats, you've got a sunroof, you've got Alcantara on the seats, and the RS7 badging to boot. Throw in all of this carbon fiber finish everywhere and things start looking sportier and even more high-end than they already are. So it's a nice cabin. Yes, it does pamper you. Now let's move on and talk about that Vespa. This is the new S from the company, which the company in fact says is targeted at male buyers specifically. So is it just all about a marketing position, or is there really something different in there when you compare to the LX125? Bala has been trying to find out. He had a chance to check out the new scooter in Bangalore.
Think Vespa and it is an instant string of mental images of all things Italian. So with the new S model, the challenge is to go beyond just that, isn't it? So it aims to be different by virtue of whom it's aimed at, the male buyer. But trust the Italians to still focus on retro styling and more or less get it right. Having proven their style quotient with the current Vespa models, the LX125 and the VX, they've played safe by staying retro all right.
So the real blast from the past in terms of the overall design of the new Vespa S is the box-shaped headlamp, which really gives the bike a lot more character and really reminds you of the scooters of the 70s, doesn't it? And also the chrome rear-view mirrors on both sides match and blend with the shape of the headlamps, which is really nice. And of course the orange shade itself, the paint job is really excellent and it's really the icing on the cake in terms of retro styling and the kind of feel that the bike gives.
Of course, you can also get it in white, black or red too. No pastels, thank you very much. They're trying to go butch, remember? The instrument panel houses a speedometer, fuel gauge and clock, and it's finished off in black. An all-chrome housing here would have really been a throwback to the scooters of yore. Oh well. Overall though, the materials and finish give off a sense of good build quality with a solid feel. The brake levers and switches included. The chrome-plated heat shield over the silencer and the black alloys add a bit more appeal. There are red-coloured springs used to add to the sportier feel that Vespa is going for. At the rear, the Vespa S branding looks nice over the tail lamp, which has a two-step crystal finish. The S gets neat cubby holes for storing small items. And it has a foldable bag hook. The underseat storage is decently large and a half-face helmet will fit in snugly. The seat itself feels firm and comfortable, but it doesn't have grab rails. Instead, just a grab strap of sorts. Now, it's all very well to position the scooter to male buyers, but what happens to the women they may want to have accompanying them? The S is powered by the same 125cc 4-stroke engine used on the other models, and so it delivers 10 bhp of power and 10.6 Nm of torque. The scooter uses a CVT transmission to deliver power to the rear wheels.
Now the Vespa S might look a bit delicate, but it really shows no signs of that on the road, especially when you got the suspension working really well and keeps it right smooth and steady. Also the acceleration is fairly good, although it's a bit slow off the blocks, but in the mid-range it lets you zip in and out of traffic fairly smoothly.
Its monocoque steel chassis lends to a good handling character. The scooter maneuvers well and it lets you corner with ease as well. The riding position is a bit tall and upright, but it's comfy. The braking is precise and solid too. Like its siblings, the S doesn't come cheap, priced at over 75,000 rupees ex-showroom. Yes, that is quite a steep premium to pay for a scooter, despite its gorgeous looks and riding dynamics. But it is a segment that Piaggio wants to continue playing in without diluting the Vespa brand. It's also a product for those who want to express a sense of individuality. So if you want to make heads turn and you don't mind spending the extra cash, the S may just be your best bet.
Now I've got to say goodbye to you, but luckily not yet to the RS7 or this fantastic road. so I'm going to spend some more time on it. In the meanwhile, I'll say it as always, please wear your seatbelts, please wear your helmets, and stay with us. There's plenty coming up right through the week on Auto Prime. That's 8:30 p.m. every weeknight on NDTV Prime. Here's a quick glimpse of just what's coming your way over the next week. Bye.